Hey everybody, welcome to Our Watch. The Biden administration is at it again, suing citizens of this great nation. One of those citizens that's being sued is with us today. We're going to introduce her in just a moment. Before we do, I want to remind you, if you would like this video, share it with your friends, your family, your neighbors. Also, head on over to ourwatch.com, subscribe, become one of our watchmen. Really appreciate that. We always try to get good, true information into your lives. That being said, again, Biden administration is suing our citizens. One of those citizens is here today. Joeylynn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I am excited to get this story out to your audience, get the truth out there.
Well, let's talk about the truth. What actually happened to you?
So your viewers probably remember the viral video in 2020 during early election where the Biden-Harris campaign bus drove through Texas. There was a Trump train, a parade of vehicles with Trump flags on their trucks, showing support for President Trump on the road at the same time. Trump tweeted about it, said, "I love Texas." That was all that we thought happened that day. But the mainstream media very quickly picked up footage from that day and then just outright lied after Biden had a press release saying that we ran the bus off the road. We know how he bumbles. Well, then media start saying that's what happened. And how could you vote for Trump when he's got these insurrectionists, domestic terrorists, and white supremacists suppressing minorities from voting to the point of running his campaign bus off the road, which never happened.
Yeah, it's so funny how they say suppressing minorities. I mean, where do they even get this stuff from? We see here the 2024 elections are underway. The Supreme Court unanimously voted to keep Trump on the ballots. But this lawsuit against you guys, this is going to impact the 2024 elections. How do you think this is going to impact? How's it going to interfere?
Yeah, so here's what's crazy. So when this originally happened, we drove next to the bus. We thought it was cool that we made the news. We were surprised to hear how the media was lying. We went on with our lives. 8 months later, we found out we were getting sued under the Ku Klux Klan law by Biden's White House officials for driving next to the bus that day because they claimed the occupants of the bus, which were campaign staffers and Democrat politicians running for office at the time, they are claiming they had emotional damage. So 0 criminal charges, but they're saying they want to be financially compensated from our exercise of free speech. We were shocked to learn about this, knowing that we have a constitutional right to free speech and to support our political opponent of choice, and thought it was crazy enough that that was happening. But having been in active litigation in federal court for 4 years, we have seen them drag us through the impeachment trials in tandem with January 6th to try to keep Trump from being, eligible to run again. And in that 14th Amendment hearing that you just mentioned, the prosecuting attorney's opening remarks claimed, with video footage of us driving next to the bus, that we ran the bus off the road and we were a precursor to January 6th. And so they are ruining Americans' lives, creating lies and false narratives to interfere with the election, and we're collateral damage. So we're celebrating that Supreme Court ruling to keep Trump on the ballots in all states.
It's funny how the left likes to do this. It's called projectionism. Whatever they're doing, they accuse their opponent of doing it. They're saying that the people on that bus were emotionally damaged. They're doing the same kind of things here where I live. We had a man wearing a skirt and women's apparel, and he was in charge of 5-year-olds at a public school. I went to the school and I was wearing a black Levi's jeans jacket, and I just wanted to ask, are you aware? I asked the principal, are you aware if there's a man wearing a skirt taking care of 5-year-olds? They ended up calling the school district attorney and the school district psychiatrist and brought them to the school to find out if the staff were emotionally damaged by my presence there that day. So I'm the one that's emotionally damaging people, not the man in a skirt taking care of a 5-year-old. So this is a spiritual battle that you are in.
Yes.
This is a spiritual battle all around us. And talk to us about that, the spiritual aspect of this. How are you doing spiritually?
Yeah, that's a great question and a great point. I'll just say that we're seeing that verbiage pop up all over the United States, that we're emotionally damaging people, that people's civil rights have been infringed by conservatives, that we're a threat to democracy. Well, you know what? It's a republic. So I guess that our God-loving American values are a threat to democracy because that's not what we have here, and that's what they want. And we have learned very quickly that it is a spiritual battle. I've always considered myself a Christian, but I have been driven to the Lord's feet through this, that it feels now like an honor to be called to this, to walk through this, to defend our God-given rights. And we cannot do it without the help of God leading the way, making a way financially. They've been bankrupting us for 4 years. We cashed out our 401k. Finances have been unimaginably tight, not knowing where the next paycheck is going to come from because we're having to hand it right over to our attorney. And so it's been a black cloud that has followed our family around, and we're scrapping to remain faithful and hopeful, but God has been faithful. If we relied on our own strength, they would have squashed us. There are other defendants. There were initially 5 defendants in this lawsuit, and 2 of them have settled, apologizing just to be done with it, to get back to their daily lives. But because God has been strengthening us, we will put one foot in front of the other to ensure that we set a precedent at the federal level that defends free speech rights. We're not going to roll over and hand over these liberties that have been, blood has been shed for us, from Jesus at the cross to our men and women that have fought for our country. But that is not something I would have said 4 years ago when this happened. God has shaped us and molded us. And the prosecuting attorneys, those 20 DC attorneys that are suing us, hate it. When we get into our depositions and they're asking us these questions, it's like, what Bible verses are you reading? And what are you talking about at church? And what are you praying about? And what do you mean when you say it's a battle between good and evil? It is under their skin that they don't even realize what's happening, but it's so obvious to a believer.
Right. Absolutely. Well, Joeylynn, I appreciate all that you're doing. I want to encourage you to continue the fight. I want to encourage you to stay engaged. America needs you to do this. And you are the salt of the earth, the light of the world, as the Lord says. Salt stings a little bit. I think that's what you're seeing, the fact that you are preserving this nation. That's what God's called us to do. I want to ask you, as we close here, how can people follow you, and then how can people support you as you continue in this fight?
Thank you so much. We have created a website as a landing page for people to learn about our story, share a 90-second video on social media or with friends and family. They can follow our legal updates. They can purchase fundraising merchandise to benefit our fight, and they can give to our fundraiser. The website is freespeechdefender.com. freespeechdefender.com. And even if it's $5, $10, $20, the way we've been able to stay in this fight is by the help of the American people. The whole tactic of lawfare is to drain you of your resources before you ever make it to trial. And we're determined to make it to trial and get a win. So we can be followed and supported at freespeechdefender.com and across social media platforms.
Okay, Joeylynn, thank you so much for all you're doing. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in online today. Again, if you would, share this video out with your friends, your family, your neighbors. Head on over to ourwatch.com, subscribe, become one of our watchmen. We'd really appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you right here on Our Watch with Tim Thompson.